the music on. Right. That sounds really nice. What album is this?
Prior. I don't have anyone on this one.
I was just.
to make sure my bank passwords aren't written on these posters. Yeah.
And then I'll just ask you where you're painting. Yeah, yes it is, yeah. Because I really don't want to. Yeah, so
I'm coming around to your way of thinking now. I'll take the music off.
yeah. That's it. Yeah, I think it's a bit noisy. So you're painting, and I noticed. So this is the main one that you've been doing. And when did you start these paintings?
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock this morning.
No, 4:30 this afternoon.
This afternoon.
4:30 this afternoon.
This one we did the other day,
yes.
but the other 13 we started.
It's 4:30 because we worked an hour and a half because we were timing it on Instagram Live, and it was and Freya had to get on for school at 6.
Oh, I see.
So
yes.
we had to stop. But we prepped them with the gesso last night.
Yeah.
And hung them this morning.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So so you've only really done them in the last couple of hours. I mean, that's really
Hour and a half. That's all.
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and this one here, you know, is.
I'm going to work on that one while we.
Yeah. Can I just throw something on quick?
Yeah, sure.
Can you see it's this one you're working on? Is this man shot by the parking meter? It looks like he's reading the parking meter.
You're all yours.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, his face. Yeah, that's yeah, that's quite good considering the time you spent on the picture. Yeah, yes, man with parking meter, you could call that. Yeah, and I noticed there's a lot of bird type figures. It reminds me a bit of Max Ernst's Slop Plop, and you know that one with the bird there. Do
you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, the bird type.
Which one?
That one, bird type figures in there.
I have a little bit to do with it, but you pretty much finished that one.
Yeah.
It's still an abstracty shapes phase.
Yeah, abstract, and
it's hard to know. It could end up being anything.
Yeah, and that bird one as well. And I think I said you're a bit like Clay, and Guston's your favourite, isn't he? So
yes.
Yeah. So would you tell us a bit about Guston's influence on your work? Or
I think if he was alive today, he'd be more influenced by me.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
Is there no good for your hating people?
I'm only kidding. But
yeah.
No.
Well, I'm more influenced by Ron than I am by Philip Guston.
Yeah.
So if I am.
Yes, but yes, yeah.
What I say is I think what I told Richard the other day. He was asking, do Edgeworth and I get on well painting together, and I say, yeah, absolutely, but it's house rules. So usually I wouldn't be painting, first of all, with oils.
No.
I'd most likely use acrylics,
Yeah.
unless I'm making an oil painting, which I do love to do.
Yeah.
But it's a whole different approach for me.
It is very much
so. What Edgeworth does with oils, I do with acrylics.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I have a lot more control.
I nearly always use acrylics. I'm almost exclusively using acrylics in my paintings now. Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
And the reason for me is because as I see with him, he takes what he's got and he's not afraid to leave it. Where I want the ability to just change it, go over it, and I'm a lot more opaque in that way.
Yeah.
Where I see a lot more translucence and breathing in his.
Yes. Yeah.
There is much freeing.
Yeah.
Like that right there. So just where you see just shades and rubbings.
Yeah. Again, that's quite Miro. Like you said about Miro and Clay. That comes to mind looking at it. But you said to me yesterday, sort of jokier version of it with the more. They influence you, but a sort of more jokey version of them. Yeah.
But everything I do, I come off myself as I find these painters later in life. I never knew of them. I didn't even think about art like that.
Yeah. So and then
I'm not doing anything jokey. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one does, but yeah.
So would you do anything like this at all, Emma?
No, I don't work like this at all. I work from sketches, and I have to.
But I mean, would you?
No, not really. I don't think I can work from the top of my head like that. I have to see something to draw it and sketch it, and then I make up the paintings after lots of stuff. And I work in a completely different way to you. But yeah, I can't just draw off the top of my head. But that's very Milo though. I like that. I thought that sort of spidery little figure.
Which one?
That one in that one with the little. It's like that little black sort of like
flowers.
That's very biomorphic forms. Yeah. And you're working on several at the same time. I noticed.
All 13 at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always had that fantasy in my head. That's what I'd ultimately like to do.
Yeah.
But I always, maybe because it was a fantasy, I just assumed it was therefore very difficult to achieve.
Yeah.
Without logically thinking that there's no reason why you can't do it. Look how small this studio is, and we can do 13 at a time.
And you're also saying that you like to do Andy Warhol's The Factory a bit, sort of producing.
I want this studio to be a conveyor belt of just
conveyor belt,
1, 2, 3. That's that project done for the day.
Yeah.
And when I start, I've got a sort of task list of a production expectation.
Yeah.
Today I want to get, like for example, those 5 by 7 inches. I start the day thinking, right, today I'm going to do columns 1 and 2, and that'll be the end of my working day.
Yeah.
And just without any room for
now that one looks a little bit like, I was going to say, if you don't mind me saying, Kermit a little bit, with that frog-like, almost like a frog-like.
Yeah.
It is meant to be. Yeah.
A figure.
A figure. Yes.
Maybe spooky. Yeah. A lizard in a chair, and Edgeworth has a dog here going on. That mashed potato aliens. Oh yeah, that's is it an alien? Somebody's creeping up on his back.
Yeah. And yes.
But that's open to your interpretation.
Yeah. I don't know if you there's a famous advert for the mashed potatoes and instant mashed potatoes.
a mash gets smashed.
Yeah, and it's with the aliens, and they're watching an Earth transmission about someone peeling the potatoes and cutting them and boiling them, and they're laughing at us, a lack of technology, and then they mash instant potatoes. Yeah, it's got quite a famous advert, that one, but yeah. It reminds me a bit of it. Yeah.
Well, we've got this technology, and look what we're doing. We're doing what we're doing 40,000 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. We're still painting. Yeah. That's...
Well, we've got all this technology, and we're still using a 4-track, like
like they did a million years ago, right?
40,000 years ago.
Yeah.
When people would buy. Maxell cassettes.
That's right. So when did you first start painting?
I always liked drawing and painting when I was really quite a young age. I did like cartoons of dogs and things at school and all sorts of things. Yeah, I always painted. Yeah. Always enjoyed it, always liked it, yeah. What about you? When did you start?
Henry Miller, you've heard of the writer?
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I wanted to be a writer.
Yeah.
Or I wanted to write, that's what I was hoping to do. He used to do watercolors when he was in his downtime.
Oh, yes.
And he would go on jags for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and not write at all and just paint.
Yes.
And he said it was very healing. And I came up with a thing for myself. When I write, I'm tight. When I paint, I'm light.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
And I took up. I followed him on that, and I just started pick up gouache, cheap gouache set.
Yeah.
So I'm like 23 years old.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, I'll try painting, and I really enjoyed the process so much that I.
You just keep doing it now.
Not until I was a little later, like 27, 28, did I
Yeah.
actually make paintings going, oh, I like these paintings.
I was 28 as well.
Yeah.
Well, how old are you? Did you say you said you've always been doing
I've
it?
always been doing it. I've always liked drawing and painting. Yeah. I remember when I was 13, I went and drew the trees and things, drawing trees. When I was 13, 12 or 13, I've always drawn. Yeah, I always liked it. Yeah, went out sketching. Yeah, but
And I did the art classes in elementary and middle school and high school, and I
Yeah.
loved the art room.
yeah,
But I never, did anything that I
Yeah.
liked very much.
yeah.
And it was just a place to stay away from math.
Yes,
Really?
yeah. Just like,
Really?
yeah.
I assumed it would take about 2 years of intense study to learn how to paint a painting.
You did?
Yeah, I just shoot, and then I did my first one, and I realised, oh, you don't need any training to do it.
You can, yeah. So you know,
I was
some people.
amazed.
You are technically a naive artist in some way.
I'm actually, that's a badge of honor for me,
Yes,
because
yeah.
because I am.
Yes, you are.
And-
Yes, yeah.
And I also came up with this other little phrase of mine called perfect my limitations.
Perfect. Yes, yeah.
And because we all have them,
Yeah,
and I want to perfect my own.
yeah. So perfect your limitations. That's quite a good phrase. Yeah. Mm.
And that comes back to the whole idea of making paintings for
Yeah.
me, not for other people. So,
Yes.
and this is what this painting together is a lot of fun, and I'm learning a lot watching Edgeworth. But I would never do this in my house like this.
No.
Would I paint fast and furious and see what comes up? Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah. Do you do several paintings at once in your house?
No.
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 I can't do several paintings at once. I have to, as I say, do loads of sketches towards the painting. I have to come up with the whole idea and then paint it and do it as a whole project almost, and then go on to the next one. Yeah, I can't do several at once. But
I don't know if I
yeah.
can't. I want. For me, I just want to finish
Yeah.
and
yeah.
get it over with. I think that's impatience and hyperactivity more than
Yeah. Maybe you
philosophy.
You can't sort of think outside the confines of that piece of paper for the time being.
I gotta get it
know,
done.
I know that feeling. I know what you mean. Those, yeah,
And that's also the reason why I do a painting, at least a painting a day when I'm
yeah.
home,
Mm,
because
yeah,
I want to go to the next thing. I get bored very quickly.
yeah,
Bored's the wrong word. Just tired of looking at the same thing,
yeah.
which would probably make sense if I did work on several at once, so I can just walk
Yeah.
away. But I don't.
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's yeah.
Okay, no, I don't
That
want
is
to.
I like that face of that
This guy?
the bird in the face.
Oh,
that
thanks.
bird face. Yeah. Some of them do remind me a little bit of Sesame Street figures.
Yes,
as well.
that's right.
I mean, do you think they might be sort of yes, sort of a.
Kermit the Frog, Sesame
I
Street.
know.
You're flattering us with all the good.
That's right.
That's
Hey,
right.
Jim Henson was a genius.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
But thanks for pointing that out, because then I saw my little flaws. So here we go. I'll put a little bit of our.
It's probably just
Oh.
me because I was, in America. I was born in America, and I think it reminds me of being American, having that sort of connection there. Watching Sesame Street when you're a little kid.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it's true.
Just
I watched
yeah.
Sesame Street as a kid.
Yeah.
Do you remember Alf, the sitcom of an alien?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
They had a funny joke. Alf was watching Sesame Street
Oh, that's
as
funny.
a kid, and he goes, it's just at the end of the programme, and he said, great, the letter A and the number 4 in one day.
Yeah.
Alf was so funny.
Yeah, you know what? It's a time when I stopped. I didn't ever watch it, but it was my girlfriend at the time. Just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah. It was the #1 show in America
Yes,
at the time.
Yeah.
but I was probably trying to stay away from TV and perfect my limitations.
Yeah.
Started to take myself seriously, probably in some fact. Oh yeah, I probably had a baby coming.
Yeah. That's like a flower, isn't it, as well? And Yeah, in that one, I think there's a nice flower. In that one there, is
Yeah,
that, yeah,
yeah.
flowers, yeah.
Dog and flower, that's what he said.
This is an exhibition. We're hanging an exhibition here. That's what all
Yeah.
this paint's about.
Yeah.
I was thinking what a non-job a curator is when I was doing this. I mean, Ron and I are curating a show, and it's not going to be, if we got a professional curator in to do it, they wouldn't do it a better job, would they?
Not really, no. I mean,
Speaking of, I think, did you know I went out to see, do you know who Don Guy is? Donald Guy? Did you ever hear his name?
no.
He's
He's
friends with Charles.
This is Stuckers, yeah,
Yeah. He's really supports the movement. He loves it.
Yeah, that's good.
He loves painting. He's living in Lincoln. I went to see him because I had a little show out there.
Yeah. Oh.
But why am I telling you this? Because of something Edgeworth just said, and I
I
forgot.
was talking about
He
curating.
organised,
he-
he did that cat show, I think, online, and
Yes, he does cats, stuck cats.
Yeah, stuck
Cats.
cats. Yeah, I sent some work off for that. Yeah.
Sure, so he knows who you are.
Yeah, yeah,
He's a nice guy. He's very, very gentle, nice person,
yeah.
and also loves art. I mean, he
Yeah.
eats it up.
Yeah,
Painting, loves painting.
yeah.
But he was curating he said how much he loves gallery shows, and I kind of see where he's coming from,
Yeah.
because it's a way to coming out party kind of thing for a person's work.
Yes, it is. I don't agree with it all just being online. I know it's a lot more profitable to go online for artists because, you know, you don't have to rent a space or pay out for wine for private view and
Painting's 3D.
yeah, but it's the point. But then I think you do have to have that social event and that sort of actual physical connection. I think, you know. But
I touch paintings when nobody's looking.
yeah, clearly, yeah.
Yeah, like-
Weirdo.
Don't tell that to any curator.
No,
No, don't tell that to.
There are museums where I know a bell will go off, but
Yes,
like if
yeah.
I'm at a private
It's-
person show.
show.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is that tactile thing, you know, that is, and sometimes I know it sounds a bit sort of old master worship, but to see the actual brushstrokes of, you know, Renoir painting close up is quite, you know, you look at it and you think this it's a bit like holding an old fossil and you think this creature actually lived.
I see. You do have it. You do have it.
Yeah. I do have that feeling. Yeah.
So yes, you lose something online. There's no doubt.
You do, yeah. And also online you can never quite get the right colour, and it also you.
And size and
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
we put a chair out, in front of this. Otherwise,
Yeah.
people wouldn't even know.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
online it's there's a book that Susie gave look about Magritte, and it's image yes, painting no, and I think Magritte, because actually Magritte, because of that disconnect between the word and image, he was sort of partly the beginnings of artificial intelligence, so he is a kind of online painter, really.
Really?
Magritte, I think so, yeah. Even though they didn't have the internet or anything, I
No.
think he is.
You're having to do some creative joined up dots there.
Yeah, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, but I think he was. But I think image. Yes, I think the image online. It's the image, and as opposed to the go, it's the actual painting. I think more. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
Yes.
it's the painting is what it is. It's not you can have an image of a painting, but an image of a painting isn't a painting.
Yeah, but it creates an image. The image. But that's in the book about Magritte. But
Well, we advertise
but
we
that was
advertise
written
our
back in the
painting with
60s,
images, but they're not
it's got,
paintings.
yeah, as images. Yeah. Yeah. That looks like a little baby pterodactyl coming out. But
Yeah.
Have you done? You said that you did lots of eyes, and you're not doing so many eyes now.
I'm trying to stay away from the eyes. I don't want
Yeah,
to take over my dumb eyes right now.
Yeah, you did too many eyes. I think. Yeah.
Is there a garbage around here?
Yeah.
I think it's over here.
Yeah.
That's not garbage. That is a bag of art supplies. Can I just put this over here? I'll pick it up later.
What is it? Just
It's a really soaked.
Oh, okay. I see. I'll
These aren't-
have a go at that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
Oh,
right.
you'll go. Yeah. That one there looks like it's very like the mouth, doesn't it? That sort of, and it's almost like Graham Sutherland and
This one here?
yeah. Little sock pocket. Oh yeah, he's got an eye in it. He's got an eye. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
I was thinking of this one as a little bit like an eggshell. Right?
Yes, yeah, that's what I think. That is, yeah, that's the eggshell. Yeah, it's like a chip for hatching. Yeah, hatching.
Oh, here we are, swan. Swan and a fish.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, not a swan, a goose. No, hang on. A swan.
Swan.
Yeah. I liked your swan video, Ron.
Oh, wasn't it? I caught that swan. A swan.
Yeah.
There were rapids. It was
Oh, yeah.
on a walk yesterday when I was in the East Midlands, and it was approaching the rapids, then turning around, going, do I dare? Do I dare? The
Oh,
swan, do I
really?
dare?
Yeah.
Finally, he didn't dare. He climbed up, or she climbed up on the bank.
Yeah. And it actually sort of went down the rapid sort of thing. Yeah.
Instead of going, yeah.
Yeah, there's this little waterfall in the park, and the ducks. It's a waterfall, but the ducks just walk right across it without slipping or anything. You know, they
It's duck feet.
duck. Yeah,
You got no
this-
right.
Yeah. Sort of, yeah. And then when I was a kid, we used to dare to walk across this sort of waterfall thing. Oh, that's a very useful thing to have to get the very last bit of paint out.
Yeah.
That is very good. I'll just get one of those.
Mm.
Especially if it's oil. No, you really want to get
Yeah.
the last bit of paint out of that.
Look at all that. That would have
Yeah.
chucked away otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. So in a few minutes, perhaps we could go into the when you
Yes, we have another exhibition
Yes, in the
to talk
living room.
about.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Let me try and sort this one out a little bit.
Oh yes, yeah.
Where are you? Which one are you playing with?
This one.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Because I see something I want to play with too, but not on that one.
Right.
I can break away in about 5. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's done. No, don't rush at all. Don't worry.
So we've got 5 minutes to say something interesting.
Yeah, it's your turn. I've been being
Yeah.
really interesting.
No, you have been. By the way, this is an interview
Yeah.
of Jonron.
Jonron. So you're now calling yourself Jonron.
Yeah.
Just
It's a
for
bit like Harry Adams, isn't it? You know.
Well,
Yeah.
Stephen. Yeah, Adam is Adam actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Jonron. But then when you go back to America, you'll just be John, won't you, and Ron?
I'll just be Ron.
Yeah, you'll just be Ron and John. Yeah.
Ron Johnson's my middle name actually.
Is it?
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't be able to make any John Rons because he won't be
No, John Rons. But
together.
no. But then you can sort of come together games and.
Well, there's
Yeah.
going to always be hopefully again someday we can start up
Yeah.
live painting when things settle
Yeah.
out, when Edgeworth makes his 20 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear that, people? 20,000, please. It's got to be. I mean, just think how the billionaires out there, how much they can make an
know.
artist like, how so easily just.
Well, I think it's sad because they buy them for millions of pounds and then they just stick them in these vaults, don't they? Nobody
Yep.
gets to see them, and
Right.
that's just a bit of a shame, you know. It's quite sad.
Sad for the world.
Yeah, you know. And they just treat it as investments, you know.
So what else would so Don has a little gallery called the Mint Well-Being Gallery, and it's a place like. Did you ever hear of the Edgeworth was the Wave?
No.
Oh, the cafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he-
Oh, sorry. It's about Wave Cafe.
Wave Cafe, where you
Oh,
volunteer.
yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing I went to yesterday in Lincoln, I went to Wave today with
Yeah.
Edgeworth.
Oh yes.
was almost identical.
Really?
How funny, and he volunteers this time, but with a little gallery for it helps the homeless and food insecure.
Yeah.
And so in the UK, I've witnessed 2 really nice things that you do for the community
Yeah.
that I've never seen.
It is. I mean, Wave is, as far as I'm concerned, that is the community. It's such a good little
Nice cafe, yeah. I used to.
Well, it gets the best people of
Yeah.
Muswell Hill all together. in a
Okay,
room.
okay, yeah.
I used to work at this place called Outpost, and that was like arts projects for homeless people or people with drug and alcohol and mental health problems and all sorts of people. Yeah, that was it was a shop. It wasn't a cafe. So
I remember Outpost.
Yeah, it's such a shame it all closed down though with the
COVID knocked it out.
Yeah, the COVID. Yeah, I do remember that. Also, the Wave is a Cure cover band, German Cure cover band. They do really, I've seen some of their videos. Yes, they're singing some cool singing this German accent. It's quite funny. Yeah, the Wave they do all these. Yeah, it's a cover band.
I got a Simply Red album for Rosa.
Oh yeah.
Shop. I don't even know if she'll like it, and I hope you're not watching.
Probably is. It's just it's going live. She was watching earlier.
She was.
Yeah. Oh, now you've given me it. We'll have to change the subject. So yes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So.
We get moving with that.
Nearly finished.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try and make that green thing a turtle.
Okay, I think you'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
Give me a color for that, Dave. What would you put in the face there of this creature? The same kind of green thing going on there?
Oh, I think a nice sort of blue would be nice, because you've got the yellow and the green, it might, and the orange border. It might sort of be quite nice to set it up.
Okay. A little contrast or
complementary. Contrast. I mean, the one thing I don't like are those sort of monochrome type paintings and
is what?
Monochrome type paintings. I mean, I went to this. You see, this is like going to exhibitions. I sometimes go to exhibitions. I sometimes go to this cafe, Castle Art. It used to be called Castle Art. It's this art shop, and I used to collect the catalogues just to see how I never want to paint. You know what I mean? So you get them, and I think, this is not what I want to do. So if I ever end up painting like this, I can look at that and say, no, I've got to do this stuff, rethink this one. But but it's getting Artique. It used to be called. It keeps changing its name, but the Clarendon Art now. But actually, Clarendon's a bit better now.
Clarendon's hideous. We've
well,
got one in Muswell Hill.
Yeah, the one you've got in Muswell Hill.
What's that? What is it?
You really don't like that type of. No, I don't.
I hate even looking at it.
What is it? What is it?
It's
an art gallery.
We'll have a bitch about Clarendon Arts. It used to be called a.
What is it? A franchise?
It's a franchise because it's a very and it changed its name quite a lot. There's one in Brent Cross as well. It's and it's one in Cambridge. It's a sort of chain store of art, and it's just awful. It's so that's what I mean. I keep the catalogues and monochrome. It had these sort of scenes of New York with this they're all in greys, and then this little yellow taxi in contrast of all the greys and the yellow taxi series. And I thought,
okay.
That's why I say I like contrasting colours of the painting. I really don't like tasteful monochrome scenes. Not everyone's. Hospitals and designs, and interiors are sort of quite nice, tasteful, monochrome, but not life, so not always townscapes.
I gotta walk away from it, otherwise I'm never gonna get to your interview. I'll watch the John work here.
Yeah.
In that case, we might as well turn this.
There you go.
If you're all done.
Okay. Well, for now,
Yeah.
we can come.
Come
later on we
film
can
see what you've
finish
added
them
to them. Yeah.
Right.
Any more line here?
I think just a bit of yellow, and this will be done.
Yeah.
And then we can do your exhibition and
Right.
Yeah, nearly done now. Well, I say nearly done, you never know, do you? You might be a million miles away.
Do you have a finger paint, Emma?
No, I don't know. Do you?
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, do you have a finger paint, Edgeworth?
Again,
No.
back to tactile.
No.
You know, it's like
So-
I love the touching the
I
paint.
do if I'm
Bit
sketching and I use but chalk pastel or I do there, but
I mean,
I'm a bit in pencil and
what-
stuff. But
The brush is just a hard finger.
yeah, I always say,
With
but
some
not-
hair on the end of it,
Not,
you know?
scratch a bit there. Which, no, not really. I'm not a great finger painter, but
Oh, I'm horrible. I just try to like right now
Yeah.
because
yeah,
this type of way we're painting, I can.
it's
do fun things with it.
tactile, isn't it? It is nice and tactile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like a face coming through or some sort of face?
Sure, you're going to see a lot of faces with me. It's
Yeah.
like that's all new for me.
Yeah.
I wish I could come up with some sort of style and hold on to it for a week. That'd be nice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least you're one of those artists that doesn't get sort of everyone, you know, you get stuck doing something you can't do much else, and you get straight recognised as the one that does the.
Right. Well, if they paid me, I'd probably do whatever you wanted to. No, that's not
Yeah,
true. That's just not
yeah,
true.
yeah.
I would even say that. I wouldn't even care.
So, what would you say? Oh, I use the phrase hard edge abstraction, not really biomorphic. I wouldn't call it hard edge abstraction, but biomorphic. Or,
Yeah, I don't know.
Milo. No, it's more Milo. It's very organic. It's not, geometric at all.
Stream of consciousness painting.
Stream of consciousness painting. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Problem is that swan's not really coming through.
We'll do it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's and the only reason I'm not going on this painting is because there's only so many letters.
Yeah. Yeah.
See if I can. No, I'm just gonna get weird because I'm lazy here and I won't find.
Yeah.
And the glue. So what's the latest exhibition you've gone to, Emma, of stuff you've known in advance you're going to hate?
Oh,
No, I don't know. I mean, I saw the Black Ivory, that was that Tate Modern. That was really good, but I mean, it wasn't anything. He was somebody who he did clothes, really way out wacky clothes, trans body art, and he also was part of a club scene with the Face, because I used to read the Face, and ID, and it's Taboo Club. I mean, the Face was presented at the Blitz, but in London, but he was. Yeah, he does quite a body art and stuff, and he was involved in the dance company, the Michael Clark Dance Company. And do you know a band called The Fall?
What, me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like the
band, The Fall, yes.
We were talking about the Fall the other day.
Oh right, and Marky Smith. Well, he did. He had a bit of the Michael Clark Dance Company. So it's the Fall videos in Tate Modern at the moment with the dancing. Yeah, so that's. Black Ivory, so yeah, he did. That was quite good. Lots to see there. I mean, it wasn't anything to do with painting. The interesting thing was, painting-wise, actually, he modelled for Lucian Freud. So he had Lucian Freud paintings in there as well. He was Lucian Freud's model. He was quite a big bloke. And, so that was the latest one I've been to see. Yeah.
I think I might be one brush stroke away if this goes well. I'll do.
Yeah.
It's a light blue, sorry.
see, it's Milo clay, Casso, yeah, and a bit block.
You're determined to stick us in a load of
I'm
pigeonholes,
not,
aren't you?
I'm not,
Everything is.
pigeonholes, yeah, birds but no pigeonholes, yeah. Birds but no pigeonholes, right, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I guess that sometimes it's too. And Guston, of course, Guston a lot.
Yeah, don't get Guston.
Yeah.
Thank you for interviewing us.
It's okay.
Thanks, Emma.
Yeah, okay then.
I like that very much.
Cool, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
I'll stand over here.
Right, is that finished?
Yeah,
Yeah, I say so too, yeah. One.
and I want to wait on these.
Is
That's,
that finished?
yeah, it looks right. It's crazy.
I think that's done.
And I want more time on that because I couldn't get high up. And I got roots working. Come on, I want to have some kind of flower thing going on
Yeah,
top.
sure.
That one on the right looks done.
Yeah, I think those 4 for me
Mm-hmm.
are done. The little man, I don't know, do you want to do any more on that?
No, that looks great.
Yeah.
Something else has got to go over there. I mean, I'm seeing a top hat I want to put in on one of those guys. So.
Yeah.
We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 today. Oh, and look at that, untouched.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I've been doing little pastels, and I finished this one with the oil today.
Oh wow. And that's all pastel.
It was pastel, and then I just went around with a little oil,
Oh, I see.
just because it was all sitting out.
Yeah.
You're on live now, right?
Mm.
Okay. Oh. Move this over here. You're not using this, right?
Oh, that's one box.
Okay, we're done.
All done, Rick?
Yeah.
You're good to go?
I'm good to go.
House rules.
Okay, cool.